The sky darkened over Seoul as an enormous alien vessel slowly materialized, blocking out the afternoon sunlight. Jay Park watched from the military communications center, his hands gripping the edge of the console with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The massive ship was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Its metallic surface shimmered with an iridescent quality, changing colors like an oil slick against the blue sky. Smaller craft began emerging from its underbelly, descending towards the city with mechanical precision. Civilians ran in every direction. Traffic came to a complete standstill. Sirens wailed in the distance, a haunting reminder of humanity's vulnerability. Jay knew this was no drill. This was real. His colleague, Yoon, sat frozen at the communication terminal. The alien transmission crackled through their systems, a deep, rumbling voice that seemed to vibrate through every electronic device in the room. "Inhabitants of Earth," the voice announced, "your planet is now under Chiral control. Resistance is futile. Surrender immediately." Jay's mind raced. Military protocols, emergency procedures, potential response strategies. Everything he had trained for seemed suddenly inadequate. The alien ships continued their descent, now close enough to see individual details. They were shaped like massive arrowheads with sharp edges that cut through the atmosphere like knives. In military bases across the globe, similar scenes were unfolding. Satellite communications showed multiple ships appearing simultaneously over major cities: Tokyo, New York, London, Moscow. No region was spared from this coordinated invasion. "We need to respond," Jay muttered, his fingers flying across the communication panel. Military commanders were already connecting through encrypted channels, sharing limited information about the alien presence. The first military jets scrambled into the air, small and almost insignificant compared to the massive alien vessels. Missiles were launched, but they seemed to bounce off some kind of energy shield surrounding the ships. The aliens weren't even attempting to dodge or counterattack. They simply moved forward, unstoppable and calculated. Yoon turned to Jay, her face pale. "What are they waiting for?" Before Jay could respond, another transmission came through. This time it was more detailed. The Chiral, as they called themselves, explained that Earth had been selected for complete resource extraction. Humans were to be relocated or repurposed as labor workers. In the streets below, panic was spreading. People ran, some recording the invasion on their smartphones, others trying to contact loved ones. Emergency services were overwhelmed, unable to manage the sudden chaos. Military bases worldwide were going into high alert. Tanks rolled out, fighter jets continued to launch, and ground troops prepared defensive positions. But everyone knew this was different from any conflict they had ever experienced. Jay noticed something peculiar. The alien ships, despite their overwhelming technological superiority, seemed almost cautious. They weren't immediately destroying infrastructure or launching full-scale attacks. Instead, they were positioning themselves strategically, establishing a perimeter around major cities. A junior communications officer burst into the room. "Sir, we've intercepted additional communication signals. They're scanning our technological capabilities." The implications were clear. The Chiral were studying humans, assessing their potential threat level. It was like a predator carefully examining its prey before making a move. Outside, the first alien ground units began to materialize. They were tall, almost 7 feet in height, with metallic exoskeletons that seemed part organic, part machine. Their movements were precise, almost dance-like in their calculated efficiency. Jay realized something important. Humans might be outgunned, but they were far from defeated. The look in the eyes of the people around him, fear, yes, but also determination, told a different story. This was not going to be a simple invasion. This was going to be a fight. As the alien ships continued their silent, menacing descent, Jay Park made a silent promise. Humanity would not go down without a battle. The world had changed in just 72 hours. Underground research facilities buzzed with an energy of desperation and hope. Hyun Kim stood before a massive screen, her fingers tracing complex quantum equations that danced like living algorithms. "We can't fight them with traditional weapons," she muttered to her team of scattered scientists from around the world. The global communication network, once used for business and social media, had transformed into a survival platform. In a hidden laboratory beneath Seoul, Hyun discovered something extraordinary. The alien energy shields weren't perfect. They had a frequency weakness, a tiny, almost microscopic gap in their technological armor. Radio waves, when precisely modulated, could create micro-disruptions in their defensive systems. Meanwhile, military units worldwide were collecting abandoned alien technology. Soldiers who once fought each other now worked together, pulling apart captured alien equipment with a mixture of fear and curiosity. They were learning, adapting, reverse engineering at a speed that would have seemed impossible just days earlier. The United States, a team of hackers led by a former cybersecurity expert named Michael Rodriguez, discovered something strange in the alien communication signals. The Kirill weren't a unified force. They had internal communication challenges. Their technological superiority masked deep organizational weaknesses. "They communicate through quantum entanglement," Michael explained to his team, "but their communication has gaps. Predictable gaps." Back in the Korean facility, Hyun was making her own breakthrough. She had created a small device, no larger than a smartphone, that could potentially disrupt alien technology. It wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense, but a communication disruptor that could temporarily blind their advanced systems. Military commanders were skeptical. How could a small device challenge beings with technology centuries ahead of human understanding? But scientists like Hyun knew that technology wasn't just about power, it was about creativity and unexpected solutions. The first test came unexpectedly. An alien patrol unit approached a small research facility in rural Japan. The team, led by a young researcher named Keiko, activated Hyun's device. For precisely 37 seconds, the alien unit went completely dark. Those 37 seconds were enough for a military response team to neutralize the threat. News spread quickly through underground communication channels. Humans weren't just surviving, they were fighting back. Global cooperation reached unprecedented levels. Countries that had been enemies now shared research, technology, and strategic information. The alien invasion had done what decades of diplomacy could not: unite humanity under a single goal. Universities transformed overnight. Engineering departments became emergency research centers. Students who were once studying theoretical physics were now developing practical defense mechanisms. The entire human education system was being rewritten in real time. Hyun's team discovered something even more interesting. The Kirill, for all their technological advancement, had a fundamental misunderstanding of human psychology. They expected predictable responses, surrender or total destruction. Instead, they found a species that was unpredictable, creative, and fundamentally resistant to total control. In military training camps, new strategies emerged. Instead of traditional warfare, soldiers were being trained in guerrilla tactics, psychological warfare, and adaptive thinking. They were learning to fight an enemy that was technologically superior by being mentally flexible. The global internet, once a platform for entertainment and communication, became a massive distributed intelligence network. Amateur researchers, professional scientists, military strategists, everyone was contributing. Information was being shared, analyzed, and transformed into potential defense strategies within hours. As the second week of the invasion began, something remarkable was happening. Humans were no longer just resisting, they were preparing to counterattack. Hyun looked at her small disruptor device and smiled. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was the ability to adapt, to learn, to transform challenges into opportunities. The world had become a chessboard of survival. Sujin Lee sat in a dimly lit room, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic screens. Each screen represented a different network, a different potential pathway to disrupt the alien communication systems. The Kirill thought they understood human communication. They were wrong. Psychological warfare became humanity's most unexpected weapon. Instead of traditional military confrontations, humans began targeting the alien communication infrastructure with something more powerful than bombs: information manipulation. Sujin's team created complex algorithms that could infiltrate alien communication networks. They didn't just send random data. They sent carefully crafted messages designed to create doubt and confusion among the Chiral command structure. One message suggested internal betrayal. Another hinted at potential rebellion within their own ranks. Each transmission was a psychological needle, slowly puncturing the aliens' perception of their own invincibility. The Chiral began experiencing internal conflicts. Their rigid hierarchical structure, which had worked perfectly in previous conquests, started to crack under the weight of human unpredictability. Military units around the world adopted similar strategies. Instead of direct confrontation, they used misdirection. Fake communication signals, holographic military movements, drone decoys. Everything became a potential tool of deception. In the mountains of South America, a small resistance group managed to capture an alien communication device. Within 48 hours, they had not just understood its basic functioning but had begun to modify it. They started broadcasting false command signals that created massive confusion among alien units. Satellite networks, once used for global communication, became weapons. Scientists repurposed communication technologies to create massive electronic warfare platforms. Every television, radio, and internet connection became a potential battlefield. The psychological impact was profound. The Chiral, who had expected a straightforward invasion, found themselves fighting an enemy that didn't play by any known rules. Humans were using creativity as a weapon, turning their perceived weakness into unexpected strength. Military strategists realized something crucial. The Chiral understood technology, but they didn't understand human imagination. Every time the aliens thought they had predicted human behavior, humans would do something completely unexpected. In urban centers, civilians became unexpected combatants. Information networks spread faster than any alien communication system. A teenager in Mumbai could share a critical piece of intelligence that would be analyzed by military strategists in Washington within minutes. Sujin's most brilliant strategy involved creating multiple layers of false information. For every true communication, they would generate hundreds of fake signals. The alien systems designed for precise and logical processing began to slow down under the massive information overload. Global cultural diversity became an unexpected advantage. The Chiral had studied human technology, but they hadn't fully comprehended human cultural complexity. Different cultural approaches to problem-solving created a tactical landscape that was impossible to predict. Drone technologies evolved rapidly. What were once tools for photography and delivery became sophisticated reconnaissance and disruption platforms. Swarm technologies allowed hundreds of small drones to act like a single, intelligent unit. The alien command started experiencing something they had never encountered before: genuine uncertainty. Their massive technological superiority was being challenged by something they couldn't quantify: human unpredictability. Sujin watched her screens, a slight smile forming on her lips. The war wasn't just happening on physical battlefields. The most critical battles were being fought in communication networks, in the space between information and perception. Humanity was transforming warfare itself. No longer was it about who had the biggest weapons, but who could think the most creatively. The Chiral had chosen the wrong planet to invade. They were about to learn that humans were not just a species, they were a force of nature. The underground facility hummed with an electric energy of possibility. J. Park watched as the first prototype spacecraft took shape, its sleek frame constructed from a combination of human engineering and reverse-engineered alien technology. Located in the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, the facility represented humanity's most ambitious technological project. Scientists and engineers from around the world worked side by side, their previous national rivalries forgotten in the face of global survival. Hyun Kim's quantum research had been the breakthrough. By understanding the fundamental communication frequencies of the alien technology, They had discovered a way to manipulate quantum entanglement in ways the Kirill could never have predicted. The spacecraft wasn't just a vehicle. It was a statement, proof that humans could not only resist but could rapidly evolve their technological capabilities. "We're going to take the fight to them," Jay announced to his team. The words carried a weight of determination that resonated through the entire facility. Alien technology they had captured revealed complex propulsion systems that seemed impossible by human standards. But impossible was a word humans were quickly learning to ignore. Each captured piece of equipment became a puzzle to be solved, a challenge to be conquered. Global communication networks now functioned as a massive, distributed research platform. An engineer in Brazil could solve a technical problem that a team in Japan had been struggling with. Information moved faster than the alien invasion could respond. The prototype spacecraft represented more than just a technological achievement. It was a psychological weapon. If humans could build this, what else could they do? Military strategists developed new combat protocols. Traditional warfare was replaced by adaptive, fluid strategies that could change in milliseconds. The rigid, Kirill command structure found itself continually outmaneuvered by human creativity. Satellite networks were repurposed. Communication systems became weapons. Every piece of technology became a potential tool of resistance. In the facility, Hyun demonstrated the spacecraft's primary weapon, a quantum disruption field that could temporarily disable alien energy shields. It wasn't about destroying their technology, but about creating moments of vulnerability. "They think in straight lines," Hyun explained to her colleagues. "We think in spirals." The first test flight was scheduled in just 48 hours. Military units around the world watched the preparation with a mixture of hope and anxiety. This wasn't just a technological test. It was humanity's statement to the universe. Global resources had been redirected. Manufacturing plants that once produced consumer goods now created advanced military technology. Every industry had been transformed by the invasion. Young scientists who had been working on theoretical research suddenly found themselves at the forefront of humanity's survival. Universities became research centers. Students became potential saviors of the human race. Jay understood the psychological importance of this moment. The spacecraft wasn't just a weapon. It was a symbol of human resilience, of the ability to adapt and overcome seemingly impossible challenges. The Kirill had invaded expecting a quick conquest. Instead, they had awakened something profound in human potential. Every day of the invasion saw humanity growing stronger, more united, more innovative. As the final components of the spacecraft were put into place, Jay looked at his team. They were no longer just scientists and engineers. They were humanity's last hope. The quantum propulsion system came online with a low hum that seemed to vibrate with potential. Outside the facility, the world waited. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, and now they were pushing back. This was more than a technological breakthrough. This was the moment humans told the universe that they were not just survivors, they were conquerors. The space near Mars looked like a battlefield of light and shadow. Hundreds of human spacecraft, each a testament to human engineering and desperation, faced the massive Kirill invasion fleet. Jay Park sat in the lead spacecraft's command center, his hand steady on the quantum navigation system. Around him, a crew of international specialists worked with precision and calm. This was humanity's final chance. The Kirill fleet looked impressive, massive ships that seemed to swallow entire sections of space. But humans had learned something crucial during the invasion. Technology was not just about size, but about adaptation. Hyun Kim's quantum communication system worked differently from anything the aliens had encountered. Instead of direct confrontation, human ships moved like living organisms, changing formation faster than the alien targeting systems could process. "Target their communication nodes," Jay commanded. The human fleet moved with a fluidity that seemed almost organic. Each ship was connected through a quantum network, sharing information faster than light. The first wave of alien counterattack came quickly. Energy weapons that could slice through traditional spacecraft bounced off the quantum shields developed by human engineers. The Kirill commanders watched in disbelief as their most powerful weapons became useless. Sujin Lee, coordinating from the ground communication center, was sending disruption signals that created chaos in the alien command structure. False communication signals, quantum frequency manipulations, everything was a weapon. Human spacecraft weren't just fighting, they were learning, adapting, changing with each moment of the battle. Where alien ships moved in predictable patterns, human ships moved like thoughts, unpredictable and swift. The battle wasn't just happening in physical space. It was a war of information, of psychological warfare, of human creativity against alien technological superiority. Young pilots who had trained on video game simulators now flew actual spacecraft. Their unconventional thinking became a weapon, more powerful than any traditional military strategy. Global communication networks tracked every moment of the battle. Civilians around Earth watched, their collective hope becoming a form of energy that seemed to power the human resistance. Kirill began to realize something terrifying. They were not dealing with a typical species. Humans were not just fighting. They were evolving in real time. Spacecraft created from reverse-engineered alien technology now outperformed their original designers. Each captured piece of equipment had become a lesson, each defeat an opportunity for innovation. Jay watched as human ships began targeting specific quantum frequencies in the alien communication network. It wasn't about destroying ships anymore. It was about breaking their ability to communicate, to coordinate, to function as a unified force. The battle near Mars became more than a military confrontation. It was humanity's statement to the universe, a declaration that they would not be conquered, that they would fight with every ounce of creativity and determination. Hyun's quantum disruption system began to show its true power. Entire sections of the Kirill fleet went dark, their advanced systems suddenly confused and non-functional. "We are not your prey." Jay's transmission to the alien command was simple and direct. "We are humanity." The final moments of the battle were not about destruction. They were about sending a message. Humanity would survive. Humanity would adapt. Humanity would overcome. As the last alien ships retreated, something changed in the universe. A new species had proven itself, not through brute force but through intelligence, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit. The human fleet returned home. Mars watched silently, a witness to humanity's greatest moment.